Grab the duct tape and mentally prepare yourself for yet another mind-expanding knowledge bomb from America's #1 business coach, Clay Clark.
That's it. Bombs away.
All right, Jason, welcome back to another edition of the Thrive Time Show on your radio and podcast download. How are you, sir?
Oh, I'm great. It's good to be back.
Well, hey, on today's show, we're talking about why history favors the bold. Kanye, Jesus is King, his new album, and the power of standing for something. So let's take the religious aspects out of what Kanye is currently doing. And Kanye West claims to have become a born-again Christian. And so whether you believe this to be a publicity stunt or believe this to be true, let's just say that that's what he's claiming, and we'll leave it there.
Right.
And a lot of people are upset about it. A lot of people have something to say about it. Jason, why do you think a lot of people are upset about it? Why do you think that there's a big controversy right now that Mr. Kanye West has decided to become a born-again Christian and to release a entirely Christian album called Jesus is King?
Well, being a former, what I'd call Kanye apologist, I'm that guy who's like, oh, man, old school Kanye. That's the man right there, talking about the original college dropout and graduation. Everything he's doing now is so different. But being the person who appreciates music like I do, I think it's cool. I think it's awesome when an artist goes off in a completely different direction, but I think people get mad because it's not what they're used to, and it's not what he's quote-unquote supposed to be.
What is he supposed to be, in your opinion?
To them, he's the braggadocious Kanye who wants to, run up on stage and steal somebody's spotlight and make crazy clothing and just rap about, overall ego and everything like that. They don't want to see him become something else. They want him to be this cookie-cutter version of Kanye.
Now, what if you're a business owner and you fear conflict? Now, again, I talk about this a lot, but again, your success will always be just a fiction if you fear friction. Again, your success, your future success, will always just be a fiction if you feel friction. So let's do an example. Jason, holding your team accountable to following scripts.
Mm-hmm.
Why will your success be a fiction if you're afraid of friction?
If you're afraid to hold people accountable, they're not going to follow the script, which means that you're not going to sell as much as you possibly could.
Okay, another example. What about insisting that your team stays organized and that all the files are saved in the right place? Why is it impossible to scale a company if you're afraid to tell people that they have to save files your way or the highway? Why can you not be successful if you fear friction?
Well, you can't be successful in that scenario because you can't get anything done. Like if we didn't have the Dropbox nomenclature and file formatting and saving systems that we do, we have 160 clients. Like that's a lot of passwords. That's a lot of print pieces. That's a lot of systems. And if you didn't know how to find it, if everything was just, 1-734.png, what the crap does that mean?
So what if I'm listening today and I fear friction and I just don't want to ever make somebody mad? Is it possible to fire people?
No.
You've done a great job managing the elephant in the room in all 3 stores. We have a policy: no cell phones in the store. Mm-hmm. After you appeal to somebody's higher motives and you ask them nicely to not bring their phone into the store so we can be focused on our guests, what percentage of people say, you know what, I can see your point, I won't use my phone?
10 to 20.
And so what do you have to do?
You have to remind them every day.
And there's friction.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, what about call recording? A lot of business owners try to install call recording with clarityvoice.com for quality control, recording the calls via clarityvoice.com. What happens if, you fear the friction and your employee says, I don't want to be recorded? What happens?
Well, then you have no idea what good old Greg is saying, and he could be taking your company or stealing your customers.
What about following checklists? What if you have employees that don't want to follow checklists? Can you have success if you fear friction?
Nope. I've been there. It's like, hey guys, it's 2:00. We have to hit this checklist, and then they're shooting daggers out of their eyes at you because you're Mr. Follow-Up. But then if you don't do it, you have no laundry, and you can't give clean towels to the customers, and the soda's not cold.
What about following checklists, or what about getting Google reviews? Do people follow Google reviews and follow checklists by default, or do you need a little bit of friction in order to turn your success into a nonfiction?
Well, you got to have that friction. I mean, success isn't easy. If it was easy, everybody'd be successful.
So we're talking now about Mr. Kanye West, who is no stranger to controversy.
True.
He does not fear friction.
I know. That's what I love about him.
So he doesn't fear the friction. So we're going to queue up. This is an interview he did with, is on Airpool. You got to watch the whole thing. It's Airpool Karaoke, the late show with James Corden.
Oh, yeah.
And he's trying to explain to James, the new music he's putting out, what it sounds like, what the feel is. And he's on a plane. James Corden's on a plane with Kanye, asking him about his new album, Jesus is King. And Kanye's traveling with his entire choir on this large, it appears to be a 737
So it's really cool.
jet. And this is what Kanye did on late night television, by the way. On late night television, this is what he's doing. Is it normal for pop stars to sing songs that are this blatantly Christian on late night television?
Nope, not unless it's a late night Christian broadcasting service.
Okay, so here we go. Probably the first all Christian performance on a late night television show in a long time.
True.
So here we go.
And they're very angry about it. Yes.
He's going to freestyle. Check this out. It's crazy.
To the hustlers, killers, murderers, drug dealers, even the strippers. Jesus walks with them. To the victims of welfare, for we living in hell here. Hell yeah. Jesus walks with them. Now hear me, wanna see thee more clearly. I know he hear me when my feet get weary, cause we're the almost nearly extinct. We rappers as role models, we rap, we don't think. I ain't here to argue about his facial features. We're here to turn atheists into believers. I'm just trying to say the way school need teachers, the way Catholic needed reasons. That's the way I need Jesus. So here go my single dog, radio nieces. They say you can rap about anything except for Jesus. That means gun, sex, lies, videotape. But if I talk about God, my record won't get played. Well, if this take away from my spins, which will probably take away from my ends, I know it take away from my sins. Bring the day that we dream about. Next time we on a plane, everybody screaming out, Jesus.
I mean, there's no doubt about it. He's all about his new faith, his relationship with Christ, he being born again. But he's not apologizing. Now, what would he have to do if he wanted to make this album pop friendly? What would he have to do? By the way, the number one album in the world right now at the time we're recording this is this album, Jesus is King.
Wow.
How could he right now make this less controversial?
He would have to make the metaphor even more of a metaphor. Because like what you said before was really important. When you said, because I misunderstood, you said this is probably the most blatant Christian performance on a late night show. I'm like, oh, there's plenty of people who have come out later on. Like, do you remember that new metal band POD that was super heavy? Everybody loved them, and it turns out all of their subject matter was Christian rock, and they just kind of like pulled the veil over everybody's eyes. That would be the only way that he'd be able to do this without getting controversy, is to make an album, market it a certain way, then you have to listen deeper to figure out what it was about.
I'm just telling you, this right here is a very controversial album. Now what he's doing is, again, he's traveling around the country. He's performing just straight Christian songs. There's nothing out there. There's no metaphor, no masking what he's saying. It is literally him proclaiming Bible verses and telling you what they mean. Let me play just one more example from this interview on Airpool Karaoke. Everybody go check out this YouTube video. Just Google search Kanye West Airpool Karaoke, or do a YouTube search for Kanye West Airpool Karaoke. Here we go.
V-Box. On time, every time, always there, said you'll never leave us nor forsake us, so we stand on your word, brought us out of darkness into your light, by your power, we're set free, when 2 or 3 are gathered, you're there, in the midst, thank you, Lord, so glad we know our souls anchored, every single day you're worthy, to you we give the glory, 'cause our souls anchored.
Think about that. I mean, what is he doing? He's absolutely committing career suicide unless he's real about this. I mean, this is and I'm telling you what's happening is his album right now, Forbes projects it to be the #1 selling album during the month of November. This will be his 9th album. We're going to find out in just a couple of days here. This will be his 9th consecutive album to debut at the top of the Billboard charts.
Wow.
He does not avoid controversy. Now, let me tell you this. Virgil, the ancient Roman poet of the Augustan period, said, "Fortune favors the bold." Fortune favors the bold. Well, I don't like Virgil. Okay. Let's go with Steve Jobs. He says, "Remembering that I'll be dead soon is the most important tool I've ever encountered to help me make the big decisions in life. Almost everything, all external expectations, all pride, all fear of embarrassment or failure, these things just fall away in the face of death, leaving behind only what is truly important." How often, Jason, have you heard me talk about being dead soon?
Actually, quite a bit.
What kind of things do I say about this?
Oh man, I always attribute it to how much you do and how the human body can only take so much. So I think maybe that's why you think you're just gonna like evaporate one of these days.
Well, the thing is that I've talked about this with all the time. Is that remembering that I'm going to be dead soon is a great tool for me.
Right.
I mean, what do I have to risk?
Right.
If I'm Kanye West and I sincerely believe that Christ is the key to eternal life, what do you have to lose? You lose all your money. Who cares?
Plus, that also gives you like a deadline. Like, look, if I want to get this done, I could be dead soon. I will be dead soon. So it's a nice reminder of, hey, clock's ticking.
You know, Aristotle, the famous philosopher, he said there's only one way to avoid criticism. Do nothing. Say nothing.
Yep.
And be nothing. Donald Trump says, I like thinking big. If you're going to be thinking anything, you might as well think big. So Kanye's talking about moving to Wyoming to be able to spend more time with his family.
Wow. Why Wyoming?
Apparently there's less people there.
Oh.
There's no star celebrity component. But I'm just saying, what happens, Jason, if you are a pop star and you become a Christian and you want to share your faith, but you also don't want to offend anybody? What happens?
I mean, it's a textbook catch-22. You can't do that. Somebody is going to
his
say.
new album. It's called Jesus is King.
Here he is on the Jimmy Kimmel Show.
Closed on Sunday, and Faith from the Oculus, New York City, Kanye West.
I mean, listen to this. I mean, this is...
Don't let them indoctrinate. Closed on Sunday. You my Chick-fil-A. You're my number one. With the lemonade. Raise our sons, train them in the faith through temptations. Make sure they're wide awake. Follow Jesus, listen and obey.
Now, the thing about the way it works on Billboard is when a song hits the top of the Billboard charts, it then gets played on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
So if you were listening to this album and you're like, I want this kind of music to be played on the radio, well, you have to vote with your dollars.
Right.
So you got to go to KanyeWest.com today, which I have done, and you can buy the collector's edition. It's a blue LP, a blue vinyl. You can buy that for $25.
Wow.
And you get a vinyl. Here we go. Now listen to what he just said, and then marinate on this for a second here, Thrive Nation. Here we go.
No more living for the culture, we nobody slave.
Now here's where he really doubles down. It gets a little crazy.
Stand up for my home.
Stand up for my home.
Even if I take this walk alone, I bow down to the King upon the throne. My life is his, I'm no longer my own. I pray to God that he'll strengthen my hand. They will think twice stepping onto my land.
I mean, I'm just telling you, if you are out there and you're going, I don't know if this guy's a real Christian or not, that's between him and God above. I personally am going to go on the record of saying I do believe he's changed. He's a different guy. But you might say, Clay, you're wrong. That's fine. But I would say this is that the teaching moment you have here is that history favors the bold.
Mm-hmm.
Kanye and his Jesus is King album is the top of the Billboard charts for the same reason that he was in the media for taking Taylor Swift's trophy back in the day from her because he thought that Beyonce should have won it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying that you have to agree with Kanye. I'm just saying to you is that history favors the bold. And the best way to avoid criticism, according to Aristotle, is there's only one way to avoid criticism. Do nothing, say nothing, and be nothing. Think about that for a second. So you want to hold your team accountable? That's friction.
Yep.
You want to make sure everyone saves files the right way? That's friction.
Absolutely.
You want to do the group interview every week? Hey, why are you doing a group interview for fully staffed? Jason, that causes?
That's a lot of friction.
For a lot of friction. Want to do some call recording for accountability? That causes some
Friction.
You want to go head-to-head and beat your competition? That causes some
Friction.
You want to follow up on checklists, make sure they're being used? That causes
Friction.
And you want to get your team to ask Google reviews? That causes
Friction.
You want to get people to be on time for your meeting? That's going to cause
Friction.
You want people to follow the actual sales script? That's going to cause
Friction.
You want everybody who works for your bakery to make cookies the same way using the same recipe? That's going to cause
Friction.
You want everyone at Chick-fil-A to say, "It's my pleasure." That's going to cause some
Friction.
You want to tell the world that you have a new faith and you want them to hear it? That's going to cause some
friction.
And if you fear friction, your life is just going to be your success life. Your future success is just going to be a fiction. And now, without any further ado, we're reminding you, history favors the bold.
True.
3, 2, 1, boom.